Let's go.
Charles, over here. Let you finish your water first.
The weight cut's always nice.
Yeah. So I was going to ask, just how's just fight week in Camp N as a whole? You got, Bilal's preparing for his big time.
Jesus, bro.
My goodness.
What was that?
I have no idea. Well,
It was fucking Gerald.
anyway, you have your fight that you're preparing for. Bilal's peaking too. Juliana's was in there. Yair just had his fight. So just how's Camp N as a whole preparing for, another fight where you have to go to, foreign soil and fight in enemy territory?
This has just been my general career. I think it's really a blessing to have everybody in the room, like Juliana, Bilal. Like, you get a look and view and see what a champion does, right? How they conduct themselves. So I feel like we have a really good momentum heading into this. And foreign soil, again, I'm the Jorge Masvidal of my generation. That's really how I feel about it.
It seems like you've been embracing it a lot more, especially in this camp, because on your Instagram you're using hashtag 51st state and everything like that. So is that something that you saw like, oh, if this is the path they want me to take, I'll just kind of lean fully into just being the enemy that has to go and fight their guy?
I am the enemy. Like, I've always been the underdog. Usually I'm always the underdog heading into fights. So for me, like, this is just where I belong, and this is naturally me. Like, I'm two different people, right? I am a person outside of the sport, but then in the sport, I am the heel, naturally. That's why whenever you see that post-fight speech in Australia, people dug it because it was authentic. It was who I am.
You also said on your Instagram that this was the most stable you'd been preparing for a fight. So I guess what did you mean exactly by that?
So it's hard when you're in a relationship with somebody that is successful and they sacrifice everything to be with you over a dream. And for me, somebody who was 3-3 as a fighter, who ended up making it to the UFC at 30 years old, right? And then eventually, just after that last fight, that's why I got emotional, because like there was a lot riding on that one too, because they're cutting people like crazy in the UFC. So to go out there and finish a guy like Seisenberg, who's a dog, right? It really put me in a perspective where I got a house, right, in Chicago. I have a great routine, so like I honestly am in the most stable position I've ever been.
So would it be safe to say that fans should expect maybe the best performance from you, being around all these champions, most stable, fighting a guy that has this big name? Can fans expect, I guess, the best Charles Radtke they've seen?
Absolutely, and for all the haters out there talking about ground games and such, I think they're in for a great surprise.
And what do you make of Mike, his skill set and just the name he brings? He was a big deal up in Canada. He had that stumble in Toronto, got back on the horse. I know I saw a video of you saying, similar styles, but you have more firepower than him. So just what do you make of his skill set as a whole?
Listen, everybody in this division is a stud anyways at 170. I think the major difference is like that. I think the firepower is the difference. I think Mike Malott being on the back foot is the issue. He said the bull versus the matador type of theory, right? I don't find myself necessarily as a bull, right? But if that's what you're going to label me as, then I'll take it. But I think that he possesses a lot of skills. I think he's got a good ground game, good striking, but inevitably I just don't think it's enough.
Charles, I feel like you're in a better mood today. I know one of the last times you've come in here, you've asked everybody how much money they have in their pockets. I think there's about 20 or so of us in this room. So what's this interview going to cost us once we're finished here?
Well, you're going to be my sponsor after this fight. You realize that, right? That's your boy. So you're going to be paying me.
What do you think about that? Because I feel like there's going to be about 20,000 Canadians that are going to be booing you this weekend.
I think I'm going to be real nervous. I think I'm going to be real scared coming in there. I think that's what it might be, right? Is that what you expect? That's what you hope, right?
I'd hope so.
Yeah, well, it's not going to happen.
And then as far as the rivalry goes, right, Canada-US,
Yeah.
I don't think there's a better one on this card than you and Mike Malott. So there was a pretty big hockey game earlier this year, and the Canadians came out on top. So how are we feeling about that?
So I don't give a shit about hockey, right? That's not my gig. But what I do hold dear is I grew up on a bison ranch with my grandfather, who's a sergeant major in the Marine Corps. And when you all boo the national anthem, somebody's going to have to pay for that. And somebody had said, oh, well, you booed him the week after. Does it make it right? So inevitably, I take that to heart because every year I'll change 50 flags going up our driveway. So, yeah, you're going to see the results of it.
And realistically, do you think they're making a mistake by not having you guys at the press conference tomorrow?
Listen, I think that if you guys are looking for more of a selling point, I think absolutely. I think when you look at the presser right now, there's a lot of respect there. There's not enough scumbags. You need a little scumbag in there, right? A little bit of Chuck Buffalo wouldn't hurt anybody. So, me personally, I think a lot of people aren't going to be necessarily paying for the pay-per-view. So the spot that I'm at right now is a great spot to be in because there's going to be a lot of people viewing. So I'm honestly happy with my position.
Final message to all the Canadians coming out this weekend.
Basically, fuck you and fuck Full Send.
Charles right here. Just going to your right. Do you fight better when you're fired up?
I would say so, yeah. I mean, that's just like my natural state. My good training partner over there, Gerald Mershart, knows what's up. I mean, I'm pretty fiery in the gym. I talk a lot of shit. That's just that's just who I am as a person. I have a chip on my shoulder. I've had a chip on my shoulder since I started this, and it's going to be no different coming Saturday.
And then one last quick one. Your only loss in the UFC came to Carlos Prats, I believe, and obviously that's aged pretty well given where he's gone. But what did you think of his performance the other week?
I think personally, I think it was good. I think that he almost finished the fight on Ian Gary, but honestly, give it to Ian Gary for showing up for 3 weeks and putting on the performance he did. And I think it was just a cardio issue on his behalf. If you would have gave him more time to be ready for that fight, I don't think it would have even been close at all. The 3 rounds at the beginning had showed it.
Thanks.
Yep.
Right here. When you're looking at Mike's game, where is it that you feel that you'll be able to better him, or is it more looking at his overall game and thinking you can beat him in every area, Charles?
I think it's the mind. Right? I actually fought one of Mike Malott's, is Chris Gonzalez in Bellator. The one thing that Mike's gonna know is I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna keep putting pressure down. The Neil Magny fight, I will say that he was winning majority of that fight. But I think one thing that will always impact you and always will stay in your mind is when you're staring at the lights in Canada and you see that is impacting you, quit on yourself. That's just a dialogue. When you quit like that and you stare up at the ceiling, that haunts you for life. And also remember this. What was Mike's last fight and how did it go? Question for you.
Well, he won. He
Yeah,
won
question.
in Edmonton, yeah.
Yeah, but how did it go? What did it look like to you?
Well, he looked a little bit gun-shy, looked a little bit hesitant after coming off the loss.
Was that guy a heavy hitter?
No.
What did my fight look like after a loss with Protas?
Well, it looked pretty good. You got him out there quick.
Just think about that. And think about that I've done a 180 since this camp, too.
Taking all that in mind, looking at when you get to a certain level of mixed martial arts, there has to be something said about durability and how much damage you can endure when you're in there in a fight. Do you believe that your durability is better than Mike's and that's what you're going to prove on Saturday night?
Well, fuck, man. I mean, I got knee in the fucking liver. You know what I mean? I don't really get punched in the face that much, but you never know what's going to happen in these competitions. I feel like that this is a huge opportunity. If this was a fight happening anywhere else, it wouldn't mean dog shit, okay? But it's happening in Canada, right? So I have to give appreciation towards Mike for this fight because, again, this is why it's on the featured prelims. It's because of him. So I give him that respect, right? But I'm a gangster. I came to his hometown to whoop his ass, right? That's the difference.
Thank you.
So just one right. So there's this
Ooh,
rumor.
you like it, huh? One more. Come on, give it to me. Let's go.
There's this rumored Chicago pay-per-view in August. Is the goal to get Mike out of there quick and then try to get on that one?
No, my life ends on Saturday. That's it. I give him all the respect. I will never look past him, right? I'll see you motherfuckers on the other side. That's how I feel about it.